Hi YouTube, just before I show you all the main fossils that I found from Barton-On-Sea, I'll just quickly show you this piece of fossil wood that I found while I was there a long time ago. This was in a drawer for quite some time, and it was preserved in iron pyrite, but you can see the iron pyrite has started crumbling, and you get this thing where it oxidizes with the air, especially if it gets a little bit damp. So it's completely crumbled. You can see in the top right hand corner it's crumbled um, almost to dust. Here's the first sort of close up of it where you can see these kind of like little filament type things, little strands at the bottom there, as well as the kind of obvious kind of pyrite grey sort of dust look that you get used to with pyrite rot. Here's the second close-up. If you want to see another video of how I preserve this, I managed to save this particular piece of wood, and yeah, it can be applied to kind of a lot of fossils that have the iron pyrite rot. Check out my other video to see that. I was just going to do a quick video on some of the fossils that I found at Barton-On-Sea. So if you have a look here, I've been able to identify quite a lot of these and get their names, so I'll try and give them to you, and then if you find any fossils at Barton-On-Sea it might help you identify yours. So this is Tetrupa bartonensis, which is a tusk shell. These are the fossil versions. This is a modern day version here. So if you look at the colour difference, anything that you find that is this sort of pinkish greyish colour at Barton-On-Sea is probably a fossil, and these are Eocene fossils, so they're like 50 million years old. These ones are Turritella. There's another place called Bracklesham Bay, and I've done a couple of videos on fossils that I found there as well. And Turritella is one of the more common fossils that you find at Bracklesham as well. The fossil beds are very similar. There's a couple of oyster shells here that I haven't identified yet, and then we've got some fossil wood here. These are fossil worm tubes in this little tub. There's a larger bivalve shell that I haven't identified yet. Then we've got these are Volute Spinous Scolaris. This is one of the prettier shells that you'll find at Barton-On-Sea. It's got a lot of ridges, it's quite elaborate, and these can be quite big. I've got some more over here, that really nice shell. Yeah, I haven't found any particularly big ones yet. This, if you look at my finger, this is about the biggest one that I found so far. Okay, and then we've got Orthosecular Strata, this one. It's got this kind of knobbly edge to it. Nice spiral shell. That's that row. Then we've got, this is just the shell at the top here, is Canorbis dermita. And then these next ones all the way down. Okay, those are called Olivella branderi. You can see they've got a much kind of flatter edge to them. Okay, this next one's easy to remember, Ramella ramosa, just for the rim part of the name, because they've got very obvious rims to the, the lip of the shell. Then we've got Xenophora agritinans. This is like a sort of a spiral shell, which is kind of flattened. It's quite sort of squash looking. That's that one. This more rounded one I haven't named yet. Then we got just this shell here is Fusus longavus. These ones you can find really big examples of, and I've got some in another drawer that are sort of almost the size of my fist, really. They're quite big. Then we've got a couple of shark's teeth here, and the shells in between the shark's teeth are Claviliths macrospira. Again, like a nice sort of flat edge to those. Then all of these four sections So all of these, and these, I've just sorted them into sort of size order, but these are all called Cyclostoma pyrus. Okay, hopefully you'll get the names, you'll be able to see the labels when you're watching the video. Okay, then we've got these spiral ones, which usually when you find them they've got the end bit broken off, but if you're lucky you find a whole one like this where it's got the long bit still attached. They're very fragile, these ones, especially when you first find them. If they're wet, you've got to be really careful with them. So yeah, that one is called Fusus perectus. Okay, and there are a few down the bottom here that are a different shape, that are called Fusinus perectus, slightly different type. Okay, then we've got these bivalve shells here. These are called Vepricardium porulosum. Okay, and we've got the smaller ones at the bottom here called Cardium porulosum. Or maybe, actually no, they're all the same species, but I think that's two different names. So maybe I've put that there because that could be either. Or potentially they could have been called the first name first and then the name changed. That quite often happens when you get used to a scientific name and then somebody changes it. So it could be that. Okay, then we've got these oyster shells. So these ones, that's this one and this one, they're called Ostrea flabellula, sorry. And down the bottom here there are some more bivalves. Different looking, aren't they, to these? These ones have got kind of ridges and little spiky bits on. These ones have nice kind of fine radiating lines. So these are called Cubitostria plicata, those ones. Then we've got these. These are kind of typical looking oyster shells. These are called Charma Squamosa. These I think I've come across before in other locations. Then we've got Crassutella Solcata. Okay, you can see these have got this very obvious kind of angled ridge. So that will help you identify those. They're pretty kind of distinctive. Okay, so this little tray here is just more of those ones, and this tray here is just more of those ones. So yeah, you can see what I've collected, quite a few. I've only been to Barton-On-Sea 3 times, something like that. So you can collect quite a lot of fossils in the cliffs. You just got to be careful. The cliffs are quite muddy and quite slippery. So yeah, be careful. But if you like this kind of video, check out my videos from Bracklesham Bay, and check out my sort of video on my general fossil cabinet, and don't forget to hit subscribe, and then you can see any fossil videos that I post up in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.